We're gonna do a bunch of different rolly things for the hips, the back, the sides, the front. And before we do all of that, let's stand up and we'll do a few checks, and then we'll do a recheck later. So just come to stand, and our first thing is we'll do a chair pose. And you can have the feet a little apart. Bend the knees and sit down just as low as you comfortably can in your Utkatasana. And just check it out. I won't stay here for long. All right. And then fold into your Uttanasana, standing forward fold. And just check out that one. Notice how close you are to the floor, if you touch, if you don't touch, how the backs of the legs feel. Bend the knees a little bit, press into the heels, and come back up to stand. And then our next check, we'll just take a little walk. So you can take a little walk around your room. And what we're looking for to notice is the extension phase of the walk. So the leg that's moving back, just notice how far back it's moving. Does it feel, just kind of notice, and then we'll check later and see if it changes at all. Yeah. All right, and then let's do one last check here. Well, maybe we'll do two more. The next one is the down dog. So just come on in, and I know we're not warmed up at all, so notice how your cold down dog feels. All right, and then we'll come down. We'll set up our first prop, and then we'll take another check laying on the floor. So this first prop, if you have yoga blankets or the equivalent, we'll make one roll with one of them. So it's about like that, and then you'll put that to the side. Let's take the other one, we'll open it up one time, and then we'll put the first roll on it and roll them both together so it's thicker. Yeah. All right, and then just give it a little squash. Touch it so it stays put. Let's have that handy, and we'll come lay down just briefly onto your back with the legs long on the floor if that's tolerable. If that feels uncomfortable, you can keep the knees bent. And here for this little check-in, a few things to notice. The backs of the thighs. And for most of us, they won't touch the floor, but notice how close they feel to the floor. How much of a gap is between your back of the legs and the floor. And then same thing with the pelvis. Notice if there's a little tilt from right to left. Notice the tilt from front to back. Are you tilted more towards the end of the tailbone or the other direction? Are you tilted more kind of towards the navel? And notice the high point of your lumbar curve. So where is the highest point of that arc? Yeah. And then just take a few breaths and notice your overall breath quality, how your body moves when you breathe, where you feel the movement, where you feel, if you feel any tension or stagnant air, stuck breath. Yeah. All right. So from here, let's bend up the knees. You'll go get the blanket roll and we'll slide it underneath the pelvis so the hips are elevated. And Mary, if you need an extra prop, I forgot to say this before, you could set up an extra one underneath your spine so your spine is a little elevated as well. And then from here, friends, we'll take the legs up, keeping the knees bent, and just give yourself a little side to side, kind of a little rock, right and left, back and forth. And we want this to be really mild, really gentle. We're not looking for a whole lot of sensation in any one place, although you might feel that somewhere. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong, though, if you don't feel a whole lot of sensation. So we'll pause the next time we go towards the right, and then a little march in place. You can let the legs, one leg come in and the other come away, and just take that a few times. March, march, march. Yeah. And then let's pause here and glue the legs together and take a few tiny little circles. We're still on the right side. Yeah. And then go the other direction, a few little circles the other way. And then we'll pause. Lower the right leg just a little, not all the way down, but just an inch or two. And now move the right leg around a bit on its own. So I'm doing circles. You could do that, or you could do just the march. You could circle the other way if you're doing circles. Yeah. And then let's pause here, come back to center, and take another little rock side to side. Yeah. And then the next time we drop over towards the left, let's stay. And again, it's just a bit, it's not all the way to the left, just a little bit. And let's take our march in place. Oh, this side for me. I'm feeling it a little more than I did the first side. Yeah. And then we'll pause and glue the legs together, take a few little circles. And a few the other direction. Yeah, and then we'll pause here. Drop the left leg just a little bit more. And then move the left leg on its own. Anything you want to do there is fine. Yeah. Okay. And then let's come back to center. Set the feet down on the floor. And just take a pause if you need to wiggle here we want the pelvis right in the middle of the blanket roll there. Just take a breath. Yeah. And then let's bring the right knee in towards your chest. Allow the pelvis to tuck under a little bit. And for many of us, especially if the quads are kind of tight, the left knee will want to travel to the left. See if you can point the left knee just straight out forward. And here we're not looking for a stretch per se, it's more just kind of a pull on the left side. Yeah. Just be there for a second. And then let's let the left leg lift up. Go ahead and let the leg straighten and then start to lower. And for this one, you'll likely feel a little bit more of a stretch. We'll keep the leg straight. It won't touch the floor. To get more, if you want more, take the left arm and bring it up by your head. And then turn your face to look right. Okay, we'll come back to center. Set the 2 feet down on the floor. Just take another little pause. If you need to wiggle again, if you kind of fell back on the roll, you can reset. And then the right foot stays planted, the left leg draws in. Let the pelvis tuck under a little bit and try not to let the right knee wander off to the right side. Keep it just reaching straight out forward. And for this first part with the bent knee, more of a mild pull, not so much of a stretch. And then we'll get a little more. If you want to take it, you'll lift the leg up, go straighter in the leg, keeping the leg straight. Start to lower any amount until you find that little bit of a pull. And then to get more, if you want that, take the right arm up by your head and turn your face to look over to the left side. Yeah, and then that's that. We'll come back to center. We'll set the 2 feet down on the floor. One more time, just kind of regroup yourself, find yourself there. Yeah. And then let's do last one with the pelvis elevated. We'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Pick up the left leg. This is the figure 4 stretch. And in this position, the pelvis wants to tuck under, but try not to, which means the legs won't come as close to your chest as they would if you were tucking the pelvis under. So try to draw the tailbone away from you as you're in this position. And then maybe you add in a tiny little side to side, just a tiny, tiny little rock there. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll undo. And you can just change sides with the legs up, or you could come down first if that's easier. And then here we are for side 2. Notice how much the pelvis wants to tuck under. Back off a little. Try to draw the tailbone away from you and the pelvis down towards the roll as we reset this figure 4. Yeah. And then option here to take a little side to side if you wish. All right. So let's take a little recheck here. Reset, put the feet down on the floor, lift the hips and we'll pull the roll out. Just set it to the side. And then come down again into whatever position you were in before. So either the legs straight or the knees bent. And just for doing that, take a little check. Notice the backs of the thighs, the 2 halves of the pelvis, the tilt of the pelvis, both side to side and forward back, and the high point of your lumbar curve. Is it right under the navel, a little higher, a little lower? Yeah. So to get out of this, let's just bring the knees in, give yourself a little squeeze, take a little side to side. Yeah. So now we're going to change the shape of our roll, meaning we'll just take the outside blanket off and keep the little one on the inside. So take that one out, and here we have just the single one now. Now we'll put this one down, make sure the fringe is facing the floor so it doesn't get in your way. And you'll pick a side, it doesn't matter right or left, just whatever is easiest for you to see. And we'll lay down on your side. Now where we want this roll is in the gluteus medius area, which is right in between. If you put your hand on the side of the pelvis, it's just below that and just above the greater trochanter, which is like a little sticky outy bit that pokes out from the outer hip there. So we want the roll in between those 2 spots. Up to you if you want to stay propped on the bottom elbow. This makes it a little less intense. If you want it a little more intense, you'll lay all the way down on the arm. So the up leg is bent, and we'll put the foot behind the leg that's on the roll. Yeah. So take a second just to settle in here. And then we'll take a little rock forward and back. Yeah. And at any point, if you need to wiggle to change your positioning, you can. Now, this could absolutely be done with the worm. You showed me that prop before. You could use a ball or 2 balls. I'm more of a fan of the blanket roll just because it's a little softer, but if you prefer the harder one, that's fine. Yeah, so let's pause when you get to just somewhere kind of in the middle. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, press the side of the foot down into the floor, and you might feel the muscle contract over the roll. And then on the inhale, you'll let that go. I think I messed that up. So let's inhale. Hold the breath for a second. Press the outer foot down. And then on the exhale, you'll release the breath and release the pressure. Do that a few more times. So we inhale, hold, press, and exhale, relax. And do it one more time. And relax. Great. Let's bend the bottom knee. The top leg is still just where it is. And now this bottom leg, you'll lift so the knee points up, and then you'll come back down. So take that a few times. Just creating a little rotation. That's it. And then let's pause with the leg down, re-straighten it, and then we'll lift and lower with a straight leg. As you get a little bonus work here on the inner thigh, as the roll is pressing into the outer. Yeah, let's stay in the up position, and only if you want to do it. You'll sort of make a circle, like a bicycle action, pedaling out the bottom leg. Go the other direction if you did that. Yeah, and then let's release. And we'll just take another last little side to side, forward, back roll here. And at any point, if you need to make an adjustment, go a little higher, go a little lower, do what you need to do. Yeah. All right, and then that's that for side one. You can just roll over to your side two. I'm going to turn around though so you don't get to see the front of me instead of the back. And we'll set it up in the same place. So it's below the side of the pelvis and above the greater trochanter in that little divot there in the side of the hip. You can ease off the pressure by propping up on the bottom arm, or you could increase the pressure by laying all the way down on the arm. Totally up to you, and you can change that at any point. Let's start with a little forward back roll. This is definitely my tighter side today. Yeah. And then pause somewhere in the middle, any spot that's somewhat interesting here. We'll inhale, press the side of the foot into the floor, just hold for a sec. And then on the exhale, release the breath and release the tension in the leg. So do that a few times. The inhale, we press, we engage, contract the muscle, and then exhale, let it go. Let's do that just a few more. Oh. Yeah. All right, guys, and let's stay in the relaxed state. Bend the bottom knee, and then we'll lift the knee up and then set it back down. Do that a few times. Yeah. All right, let's pause. Next time the leg comes down, re-lengthen so it's a straight leg. And then with the straight leg, we'll do a few little lift and lowers. Don't go too high, it's just a little bit. That's it. And then we'll pause in the up position. And if you'd like to add in this bicycle pedal, you can start to make a few circles. And another direction. Great, and then let's relax the leg. Take one last round of our forward back little rocks here. Yeah, and then let's do one last thing with the roll. Go ahead, let's actually take a break. Come onto your back and you can press it out of the way. Just come lie down for a second. You can do another little check. You might feel different after doing that one, laying on the floor. Okay. So let's turn over, friends. We'll come to hands and knees position. And it's possible if you want to recreate the larger roll for this, you could. For me, the smaller one is better, but some people find the larger one more comfortable. You'll wedge it as high as you can behind the knees, and sometimes it's hard to get it there. A little trick is if you put your head on the floor and just kind of pull it up there, or you can ask a friend to help you do that. And then we'll come back like so. And you could, some of you, hands to the floor will feel much better. Some of you coming all the way up to squash. Yeah. And this you'll feel in the calves as well, but you might also get an extra bonus in the hamstrings. Now, if it's tolerable to go a little side to side, you can take a little rock. I'm just going to spin around so you can see that. You can also be doing this with the hands on the floor or on blocks. All right, friends, let's pause. And we'll just do one more spot for today. So push the roll back to anywhere further back on the leg. And then again, we go side to side. And I'm just, FYI, for me, the first spot, I was definitely getting more hamstrings. This spot, I'm getting more calves. Yeah. We are going to do something a little bit later with the blanket roll. So let's keep it handy, keep it intact, and just take the roll out. And before we do anything, we'll just stretch out the backs of the legs. So take one leg back. You can give a little movement here. And the second side, a little bit of movement there. Yeah. So let's do the rest of the rechecks. We'll do downward dog. I'm going to take my socks off for this one. So come on into your dog and just check it out. Notice after we've done some of that rolling, that mushing, if your down dog, oh, mine feels different for sure. Did very little stretching of the hamstrings, yeah? We did a small little roll there, but nothing major. And then let's come into our standing forward fold. Uttanasana, check that one out. See if it feels different, if you're any closer to the floor. Little bend in the knees. Press into the heels. Use the inhale to grow tall. And the exhale to release the arms. And now let's check out our chair pose, or it's kind of a squat. So whatever you did before, however far apart your feet were, bend the knees, bring the hips back. Yeah, and maybe you're just naturally a little bit lower down without any effort, yeah? Just from kind of waking this up a little bit. And then let's come up to stand. We'll release the arms and check out your walk. Check out your gait. In particular, the extension phase, so the leg that's moving back. And just see if it's moving back any amount more than it did before, or if your gait feels any smoother or just any different. Yeah. All right. So let's come back to your mat, and you might want blocks for the next little bit. And we'll do some things that we do all the time, just with extra awareness here in the hips and the pelvis. So let's stand with the feet a little bit apart at the front of the mat. Inhale the arms out and up. And as we exhale, we'll take chair and then legs and prayer in the arms. And take that a few more times. So the inhale, we come up. And the exhale, we come down. I'm just enjoying this much lower chair than my regular. And then we'll stay next time we're in the down position. Hands to the shins. As we inhale, lengthen the front of the spine, move the chest forward. And then as we exhale, let's come down. Hands to the floor or to the blocks. Step the right leg back here, and let's lower the knee down to the floor. Walk the left foot a little bit wider, so the arms are on the inside. And then as we inhale, we'll lift the chest, extend the front of the spine. And as we exhale, we'll shift back and go straighter in the front leg. So take that a few more times. Today we're just going a little wider to give the hips a little extra space. That's it. And then we'll pause here the next time we shift back. The front leg is straight or your version is straight. If you feel like you're really forward here, you can bring the arms back a little bit. And we'll take a small little hip tail wag side to side. Just do that a few times. Yeah. Great. And then we'll pause. Let's walk the arms forward again. We bend the front knee. And now we'll make some circles. So just circle around. Your torso is more or less parallel to the floor here. Yeah. And then we take it the other direction. All right, friends, last thing here, let's pause. Angle the left foot a little bit outward on the diagonal, so slight external rotation. I like no blocks for this, but if you prefer a little bit of elevation, that's fine. Left hand to the inside of the thigh, and don't press straight out to the side, but press long ways, whatever direction your knee is pointing. And then counter that by rooting the right shin downward and lifting up through the low belly as the chest turns a little bit towards the ceiling. So a little rotation. Yeah. Great. And then we'll unwind a bit. You can do another round of that, or some of you might like bending the back knee, reaching back, left hand to right foot. If that's a no-go, if that's too much, just do the other thing again. Yeah? So from here, let's turn, lift up through the low belly as we're turning. Yeah. Great. And then if you have the foot, very delicately let it go. And let's reset, hands to the floor and the blocks. Scooch the back leg in, the front leg in a little bit. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. And then we'll reset the arms, move the blocks, and let's go plank to the belly here. Just making a little transition. Plank to the belly. All the way down we come. Rest the forehead here on your stacked hands. Give the hips a little wiggle from side to side. Yeah. And then let's lengthen the legs back and down, just one at a time, back and down. Lift a little through the low belly, and as you lift the legs, they'll hover a little bit. Try to lift more through the inner line of the leg, the inner thigh. Yeah, draw back through the tips of the toes. And then we'll come down, bend the knees so the feet point to the ceiling, and just stir the legs around in a little lazy circle. Let's go the other direction with that. All right, friends. Put the legs back down. Let's head into downward facing dog pose. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then from downward dog, we'll come to the front of the mat, feet forward. Root down through the feet, little bend in the knees. Use the inhale to rise. And exhale to release the arms. Take a few times a slow hula hoop circle, circling the hips around. Yeah, and then go the other direction. Nice. All right, so we'll reset. We'll do the chair prayer again. So finding your mountain pose, feet a little apart for these. Inhale, we're up. Exhale, the knees bend. The hands come to center and lower. Press down into the heels to come up again. Inhale to rise. And exhale to lower. Let's take it just one more time. Inhale is up. Exhale is down. Hands reset to the shins. Inhale to our half lift. Let's lower it down. The left leg steps back, knee down on the floor. And then walk the right foot a little bit wider, arms to the inside. Inhale, we shift it forward, lift the chest. Exhale, we shift it back, letting the front leg go straighter. Take that a few times, just take your own pace. Let it be easy. Don't work too hard here. Yeah. And then we'll pause the next time we shift forward. The front knee stays bent. We'll stir yourself around in a little circle. Yeah, and then we'll switch directions. Good. Let's pause here. Angle the right foot out a little bit, so it'll rotate a bit out to the right. Left hand could stay on the block or on the floor here. Right hand to the inside of the leg, and then press along the direction the leg is pointing. Now, counter that by pressing down through the back shin, lifting up through the belly, and turning the chest towards the right. Oh, yeah. Now, if this is good for you, you'll pause and you'll take another round. If you want the extra one, you'll bend the back knee, reach back and hold somewhere on the foot, right hand, left foot. And then from here, again, we lift up through the belly, we find that little turn. All right, friends, to get out, let's undo, reset the front leg, reset the back leg, toes tuck under, head into your downward facing dog pose. Just take a second there, check it out. And then we'll take a funny version of cat-cow. So let's come down the knees to the floor. And then adjust the leg so the right knee crosses behind the left knee and the feet can separate. So if you're familiar with Gomukhasana, it's kind of like that, but we're not going to go back. From this crisscrossed position, can you do a few little cat-cows? And then option here, you could keep doing that. You could come out and do regular cat-cow. If you have blocks handy, you can pull them back underneath your hands and then stand them up on the tallest level and come into a kind of a kneeling position, but the legs are in this crisscross position. Yeah. Take a tiny little right-left shift. Barely, be really gentle with that. for me and my body. Gobokasana is not a great one for my hips, but this version of it is actually quite good. So if you need to adjust to accommodate something going on in your hips, by all means do it. All right, let's pause. If you are on the blocks, we'll walk them forward. You can get rid of them. And then we'll undo the legs and redo. So now the left one comes behind the right. We'll start with our cat-cows. So the legs are in that crisscross position. The feet can separate as much as you like. That's it, and then we'll pause. If you're adding on, you can crawl the arms back in, and then maybe go on the highest height of the blocks. That's it. And if it's feeling okay to add in a little shift, a little right-left shift, add that in. If that doesn't work, don't worry about it. Yeah. All right, friends. Let's pause. We'll reset, taking the arms back down again. Unhook the legs, back to your center. Let's just go into a child's pose here. Hips back towards the heels. Take a second to rest. If you want to wiggle a little, you can. If you want to be totally still, that's fine too. All right, so when you're ready, we'll head back into down dog. This will be another sort of recheck, so just notice how the legs feel, how close your heels are to the floor, how much space you have for the torso. Yeah, and then we'll meet in a standing forward fold. Might as well check this one out too. Yeah, take a slight bend in the knees, press down into the heels. Use the inhale to grow tall. And exhale to set the arms down. All right, so our next pose will be lizard with a block supporting the back leg. And I think you guys have done this with me. I'm just going to show it real quick and then I'll talk us through it slower. So from lunge pose, we'll widen the front foot. We'll take the block under the back leg, and it's just above the knee. Don't put it on the knee itself. So the knee is just behind, and it's on the thigh. And then we'll hang out here for a little bit, yeah? So I'll talk you through that if you haven't gotten there yet. We'll step the right leg back into lunge, go a little wider in the left foot, and then set up the block on the highest height, just under the right thigh, right above the knee itself, but not on the knee. The other block could be used for your hands, or if you don't want it, you could just have the hands to the floor. Now for this version of the pose, let's keep the left toes pointing straight ahead and the left knee pointing straight ahead. Earlier we did the turnout, but for now we'll stay straight ahead. Out on the back leg, if tolerable, give yourself a little forward, back and forth. Be very gentle with that. Depending on how hard your block is too, this might be more pleasant or less pleasant. Be really careful if you've got a hard block. I got the nice soft ones. Let's pause, and if tolerable, take a little wiggle from side to side. Yeah, and if both of those felt fine, you could try a little circle or any kind of movement here. And in your mind's eye, just picture it in the right hip joint, the ball and socket. This pressure of the block into the leg is pressing the ball deeper into the socket. Yeah. So pause here. If you need to bail, just come out. But if you're still with me, take the left forearm up upon the left thigh and lift a little through the low belly. Yeah. If you're still with me, take the right arm on top of it. So it looks kind of casual, but there's a fair amount of work here to keep you up. See if you can lift the back ribs and spread them wide without losing contact of the back rib on the block. Right. And then from here to get out, let's set the hands down. Lift the back thigh so you can take the block out. And let's check out our down dog, having done one leg but not the other. So what I'm looking for, I'm seeing it in my own self. Look back at your legs and just notice, for some of us, the right leg appears a little further back than the left, and it really is. And then if that's happening, you might also notice the right heel is a little closer to the floor than the left heel. doesn't always work, but it did for me. Let's come forward, standing forward fold. Take a half lift, and then we'll come back down and set up for side two. So that's right leg back. I meant left leg back. Whatever's your second side. Right leg steps a little wide. And then we'll set up the block here underneath the left thigh, just right above the kneecap. Don't put it right on the knee. I can't say that enough. I've seen it. It just jams the knee. It's really unpleasant. Hands could be on the other block or on the floor, or you could put elbows down. Some of you, yeah, take a second just to get in there. And try to relax a little through the back leg. And if it's tolerable to give yourself a little rock, you can. If you've got a really, really hard block, the rock probably won't feel so good. So you decide. Yeah. Okay, so if you're taking the rock, let's change it to it side to side, gentle. If both of those felt fine, you could turn it into a circle or any other shape. Yeah, go both directions if you're circling. And like a lot of things, you might feel very different on this side versus side one. Let's pause, and then if you're up for it, take the right forearm rested on the right thigh and lift the belly a little bit. If you're still going well and you want to join, take the left arm up too. Lift the back ribs and imagine the back ribs could spread out a little bit wider. And let the ribs move forward. And the whole pelvis actually move back. Okay, let's come on out. We'll set the arms down. Lift the back thigh, remove the block. And then we'll check out our downward facing dog pose. Any yoga miracles happening? For me, definitely. And then let's check out our forward fold. Uttanasana. Little bend in the knees, press down into the heels. Let's inhale all the way up. And then the arms down. And let's check out our chair pose again. Yeah? So we'll bend the knees, bring the hips back. You might notice I'm a little lower, I think. It feels a little easier. Press down into the heels to come up. And then let's take a little walk again and just notice your gait. And see how the legs glide, and the leg that's going back, just notice if it's going any further back than it was before. Just notice. And if you don't notice any difference, that's okay. Totally fine. All right. So let's come back to your mat, and now we'll stretch out the calves a little bit with your roll. So we'll set up the roll, just set it at the front of the mat. I'm going to face this direction though so I can mirror you guys. And we'll have the blocks in the front. Yeah, so this next one will be more stretchy for the calves and the hamstrings. Stand off to your right and put the left foot up there so the toes are up on the roll, the heel is on the floor, and then the right foot can step any amount forward that you can while maintaining your balance. Yeah, if you're really forward but you're all over the place, better to step back a little bit. Yeah, now in this position, the pelvis has a tendency to swing off to the left side. So let's actually go a little bit to the right. And then kind of like you're just walking, let your arms swing. And as they're swinging, you might notice the pelvis drifting to the left. Keep it slightly to the right. And then we'll let the arms rest. Don't really bend the knees, but just almost just soften the knees a little bit. And right at the very tops of the thighs, let the inner groins move back a little. Again, it's just kind of a softening. And then let's counter that. Press down into the heels, lift up through the belly as you re-lengthen the legs. Take the arms out and up. And notice again if you drifted to the left, see if you can bring the pelvis back to center. And we'll just be here for a moment. All right. Take the arms down. Now, if your right foot is quite far, pull it quite far forward, pull it in a little bit. Mine's not too far forward. We're going to come down here. So let's bend both knees, and it'll be somewhat awkward on the left leg, but do it anyway. Bend both knees and then grab your blocks. Let's start with the blocks on high. And if that's not high enough, make a little block tower so that it builds the stack. Don't go lower quite yet. Now stay in your position, and like we did standing, can you soften the inner groins back? And then slowly start to lift the hips up as the legs go straighter. At this point, the torso might start to drape down, and if you would like to lower the blocks, feel free. If that's not a great choice, keep them up on their highest height. And then very just gently, let the hips take a little right, left shift. Very, very gently. Yeah. Okay, and then let's pause here. Take the left foot off the roll, just come to stand, 2 feet on the floor. Little bend in the knees. Inhale your way up. And exhale the arms down. And we'll mosey to side 2. You can bring your blocks. And we'll start just standing here. So the right foot, toes are up on the roll, heel is down on the floor. Left foot can come forward a little or a lot, as long as you can stand upright and you're not wobbling all over the place. Yeah? And then once you get there, notice the hips swing a little bit to the right. See if you can bring them slightly to the left. And we don't want to overdo that. Yeah? So we end up kind of right in the middle. And once you're there, let the arms start to swing, just kind of like you're walking in place. Yeah, I forgot to mention this on the first side, but the foot that's on the roll, sometimes the front of the ankle gets kind of tense and grippy. See if you can relax the front of the ankle. Yeah. All right, and then we'll let the movement settle. Take the arms out and up. And then I forgot about the legs. Take them back down. And then don't really bend the knees, just soften slightly. And the inner groins, let them move back just a little. Just a little. And then we'll counter that action. Lift up through the belly, press down through the heels to re-lengthen the legs. Out and up come the arms, lengthen through the sides of the waist. But can you keep the shoulders relaxed? And if your pelvis drifted over to the right, bring it back to the left again. All right. And then let's release the arms. If you're quite a bit forward with the left foot, scooch it in slightly. Let's take a little bend in both knees, just barely at all. Hinge from the hips to come down. Land your hands, let's start high on the blocks here. Yeah. And then from your position at the very tops of the thighs, gently draw back. Press down into the heels, start to lift the hips. And then at this point, if going draping further over, lowering the blocks is a wise decision, you can take that. For me, it's not. I'm going to stay up high. And then we'll take our little right, left, side to side shift. Alrighty, friends. Let's pause when you're right in the middle here. Shift a little to the left so the right foot can step off the roll. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale, we grow tall. Exhale, the arms release. Yeah, take a little walk. Just check out your gait. All right. So the next one we'll do here is for the iliacus muscle. And I'm just going to show where that is. If you think of the pelvis kind of like a butterfly, it's right at the front. There's one on each side. At the front of the butterfly wing, at the front of the pelvis, and attaches really high up on the inner thigh. And it sort of joins with the psoas at the attachment point there. So let me show you how we'll work this one. It's a little bit uncomfortable at first, so just ease into it. take the roll on, let's do the left side first. So on the left side, have just a little piece on the mat and most of it's going off the mat. And then when you lay down, you'll be belly down and you want to put the roll just in front of the left pelvis, the left pelvic half. Yeah, the right leg will be down on the floor. Yeah. Now, if this is feeling just weird in the pelvis and you need to prop up the right side too to feel more even, you can, but we want the pressure to be on the front of the left side. Now, once you're in that position, just take a tiny little wobble just to nestle it in. Yeah, it's above the hip crease. It's right at the front of the pelvis there. And then if it feels okay to just rest your head down, do that. I'm going to keep my head up so I can talk to you. On the inhale, press the left leg towards the floor and the pelvis towards the roll, and just hold that for a second. Hold the pressure. And then on the exhale, you'll relax the pressure as the breath releases. So do that a few times. You'll inhale, create a little tension, press into the roll, and then exhale, let it go. Do that a few times. Yeah. And then only if this is feeling fine and you want extra, you'll inhale, create the pressure, and then hold and lift the leg. And on the exhale, you'll relax, set the leg down. So again, you'll inhale, create a little pressure, hold the breath as you lift the leg, and then exhale it in. Let's do one more time. Yeah. Okay, down it comes. Let's take the roll out. Just stay on the belly for a second. And you might notice we didn't do a pre-check belly down, but notice the two sides in comparison, and you can take a little wobble if you like. Let's go to the second side. So we'll take the roll over onto the right side. So it's, again, just right in front of the right half of the pelvis, that kind of the big part at the top. And then we'll take a second to just wiggle a little bit, nestle it in. It's above the hip crease, it's to the side of the abdomen. That's it. And then we'll pause here. Inhale, and you'll pause on full. Press the pelvis into the roll, the leg into the floor. And then on exhale, you relax. Do that a couple of times. So the inhale, you'll pause, you'll press, and then we'll release. Now take it one more time. Now maybe this is enough. Yeah, you can keep doing that, or you can add on. Inhale, we pause, we press, and then we lift. And exhale, release. Take that a few more. Yeah. Good. Okay, when you're done, let's release that. Take the roll out. Stay on the belly, just create a little wobble. And then let's just recheck all of our checks to see what happened, and then we'll stay down on the floor after that. So let's press back, child's pose to down dog. Oh, notice your down dog. And then standing forward fold. Notice your standing forward fold. Bend the knees a little on the way up. Press into the heels. Inhale to grow tall. Let's take the arms down and check out our chair pose. So bend the knees, sit back as low as you can, easily, comfortably. Very exciting. And then we come up. I don't have like a very deep squat, but after doing these, I do. It's very exciting. Let's check out our gait. Take a little walk. And now for this one, the gait, I noticed this the most after doing that, the iliacus roll. So let's check it out. Yeah, see how far back your legs go. And if it were earlier in the day, I'd suggest to take a walk or go for a run after this class. All right. And then let's come back down to our back. Well, we're not done yet, but we'll come check out our laying on the floor position. Come on down and just notice what you notice as we lay down. Yeah, so the things we checked earlier, backs and the thighs, for me, they're definitely closer to the floor. The pelvis, the tilt, both side to side, front and back. The lumbar curve and the high point of the curve. See if that's changed at all. And then notice anything else. You might notice, we didn't really check the shoulders, but you might feel a difference there. The backs of the arms, the back of the head. All right, friends, let's bend the knees. And just gently bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock, a little side to side. And then this one is just kind of a reset button for the pelvis. Take the right hand in front of the shin and the left hand at the front of the thigh. And then you'll press the leg into the hand on each side. So the left leg goes towards you and the right one goes away. And then we'll pause, switch, and press. And of the two, you might notice that one feels more useful or beneficial. Just make a note. And then pause. Make it 2 fists, put them in between the knees, squeeze the legs in towards your hands. And pause. And then take the hands on the outside of the legs and press the legs out into the hands. Yeah. And pause. Now, if one of these felt more useful to you, do that one again. And if you weren't sure, you can take a round of each. Good. All right. And then let's release what you've done. Set the 2 feet down on the floor. And let's take the feet a little bit wider and just take some windshield wipers, nice and easy, nice and gentle. Yeah. And you might feel an extra little rub going through the back side, extra bonus for you if that's happening. Let's pause the next time we drop right and we'll stay for a little extra. Think of like you're trying to push a button with the left knee, reaching it away from you. And if it feels good, just stretch the arms up by your head. You can add on. Yes, and then undo, come back through center, legs drop a little bit over to the left, or any amount really that feels good. And then push the button with the right knee and reach back through the arms. Good, and then we'll return to center here. And let's take the right foot and just kind of scoop it underneath so the foot ends up in between the left foot and the left buttock. The right knee, some of you, most of us won't touch the floor, some of you it will. And if it's aggravating or getting kind of grippy, you could put a prop under the right thigh. If you don't need that, just let it hover. And then the left leg can come in, holding on to it with the arms. And in a very subtle, very gentle way, think about your back ribs just moving towards the mat. Don't press them down, but as if they were a little more weighted. Let them start to sink. Yeah. Alrighty. And then from here, let's undo the left leg, set the foot back down, undo the right leg, come back to center, and then opposite side. So the left foot scoops in between right foot and right buttock. If you need a prop under there, take it. Right leg comes in. Oh, this side's always different for me. And then the right leg comes in. And take a second to settle. And in a very, very delicate, small, gentle way, let the back ribs start to sink towards the floor. And then let's undo, set the right one down, undo the left one, return to center, And this time, let's take the hands just right on the thighs, close to the hip crease, and press. Hands into legs. Just take that little press. And then we'll do that a few more times. Release, and press again. And release, we'll take one last little press here. Now, as we settle into Shavasana, some of you might enjoy setting up the blanket roll behind the thighs, or you could make the double roll if you want a little bigger. If there's any other position that's more comfortable, take it. Let Shavasana be as comfortable as it can be for today. And as you settle in here, without creating any extra effort on your part, just imagine thigh bones. Imagine that they are becoming heavier. And drop down a little closer to the earth. In particular, see if you can imagine the ball dropping into the socket a little bit deeper. At the same time, can you relax the belly? Let the belly move, rise and fall as you breathe. Can you relax your face, the muscles around your eyes, around your mouth, behind your ears. Begin to deepen your breath. And start to take some movement back into your body. Anything at all. Whenever it feels right, you can bend the knees and roll to one side. And then from your side, we'll meet up again, sitting any way you want to sit. And the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.